Okay, everybody, where we left off, we created a bunch of sprites. The first 10 have to do with food. What we're going to do is we're going to create an object for our food. So we're going to go to objects, we're going to create an object, and we're going to call this object underscore food. So it's going to be a food pickup. It's going to restore our health. Just realize before I do this, one of the things I want to do is go to the sprite pickups, and we are going to set the preview mask to be the bottom center. So I'm going to click on here, I'm going to choose bottom center, and I'm going to lock it so I don't forget. So it'll make it easier to drop it into the grids, just like our characters. We also got to set the collision mask. Now we can put little squares inside. We can do a little disc inside. I think what I'm just going to do is go ahead and set it to automatic and precise per frame. And yeah, it might cause a little bit more processing to do, but as long as it's not too laggy, we'll keep it. This would be a great one to change if you find the game is too laggy. All right, but for now, we're just going to keep it like this. And remember, 0 through 9, the first 10 frames is what we have. So in our food, what we're going to do is we're going to select the sprite. That's this, sprite pickups. Now, if we were to just drop it into the room, it would just cycle through all the sprites, and that would be pretty lame. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a thing that when the room starts, we're going to randomly choose a sprite. And we're going to stop the animation from happening. So we're going to go to Other, and we're going to do Room Start. Room Start. So when the room starts, we're going to pick a sprite. We're going to set the sprite to be sprite pickup. And for the frame, I want to show you this. This is pretty cool. I'm going to do this function called iRandomRange. So iRandom, the I is for integer. Random is because it's going to pick a random integer. The range means what possible numbers can it be. So I'm going to type 0, 9. And that's just saying pick a number between 0 and 9 at random. Oops. That's the frame. Sorry, let me put that back down here. The sprite is sprite pickups. So sprite pickups, frame, iRandom, range. We need to set the animation speed to 0. And let's just resize this so you can see that. And there it is. So let's go ahead and drop it in our room and see if the randomness is working. So we're going to go into the room. And we're going to get our object food, and we're going to drop it in there. Mmm, yummy. You want more food? Well, we'll have to contend with the snake to get it. Now, we see that there's some peppers here, and I'm just going to put one way over here, and then we'll just call it good. So we got 3 different food objects. They all look the same. Well, let's go ahead and run this and see how it randomly selects the food items. It should be different food items, 0 through 9. And yes, we have an apple, we have a mushroom, and over here we have ice cream. Oh, joy. And don't matter that the ice cream comes up to our player's shoulder. Just try to ignore that little aspect right here. Just saying. All right, so at this point, now what we're going to need to do is have it so that when we collide with it, we restore our health. So we're going to do, they're going to go to the object player. I'm going to add a collision, the collision with the object food. So when we collide with the food, what we want to do is we want to set the variable player1 health. So we're going to grab a sign variable, and for this, we have 2 options here. We can click on here and grab Game Manager, and then from there we can just do player1 health, like so. That will work. However, I just guarantee you someone watching this video is going to forget that little step. And so this will be confusing. So instead, just for clarity's sake, under assigned variable, we're going to type game manager dot, and then we start typing PLAY, and then you'll see player1 health. Okay? And so when we collide with the food, we're going to set it to 100. Nice. And then we also want to destroy the food because we don't want it to appear there. So we're going to go to destroy instance, and it's just other. We want to destroy the other object. Let's test this out. If it works, we should see the health bar start to go down. And then once we collide with the food, it should go back to 100. Let's just see if this works. So let the health go down just a little bit. Jump in the air. You can run while jumping in the air. Isn't that fun? Okay, notice health is going down. It's starting to look more red. It's starting to get a little more dangerous. We go to the apple, and bam, our health is back. Oh, we got ice cream. We even got more. Now we die. And because we set that health to 100 at room start, we've got it back. And look, we have a new item. We have a can and a pepper. And then we die, and now we have peppers. So when we die, we get new objects. But interestingly enough, we restart the game. I don't even remember what it was. We'll be back to the first few random ones that were set. It's kind of odd how that works. I've tried to actually fix it, and I have yet to be able to figure that out. So if anyone wants to figure it out, let me know. I would love to find out the answer to that. Okay, that all being said, I think our health works just fine. What we want to do now is I would like to draw a little heart that represent the number of lives we have for every life we have. So we're going to set lives now. We're going to set it in the game manager. So let's go ahead and go over here. So we're going to go to the game manager. And we're going to go to room start. Oh, we have a problem here. Room start. Okay, every time the room starts, we can reset the health, but I don't want to reset lives. So we need to do setting lives on create. I didn't even think I would need to do that, but now it's pretty obvious to me. So let's go back. I can't believe I just did that. Game manager, and we're going to add an event, and that's going to be create. And now we're going to set the variable. And let's go ahead and set the variable for our other variables. We'll call it player 1 lives. We set it to 3, not 23. We click the plus sign, and it'll be player 1 score. Score. There we go. Score will be 0. Okay, 3 lives, no score, 100 health, but that's on create, not on, that's in room start, not on create. And that's okay, we can separate it out that way. All right, so player 1 lives, we've got that. Now, when we draw the GUI, so what we want to do is draw the lives. And what's going to be interesting is we want to draw a little sprite for every life. Let's first of all choose the sprite, and that is going to be the heart. I saw it and I already thought about, hey, this would be good for lives. So there's the heart. So let's clean this up while we're at it. So I go over, I double click it so I can edit it. I click in here to center it. And all I have to do is delete. Now, can I make it larger? Yeah, I'm not even going to try. We're just going to leave it this size. Okay, so there's our sprite. It says its current frame is 11 of 76. However, since we start at 0, this actually becomes 10. So this is frame 10. Just keep that in mind. We go to our game manager. Okay, so we're going to go from the game manager to draw GUI. We're going to do more executing of code. Yes, it sounds so violent. All right, on execute code. Okay, so we drew the health bar while the player is alive. Let's just go ahead and do lives no matter what. Okay. So we're just going to do the, now for lives, we're going to do it a little different, okay? We want to have, remember, we want to basically have a heart for each life we have. And we're going to go to our programming. I'm going to go to my programming background to come up with a solution. We're going to do a loop that's going to loop for as many lives as we have. And for that, we want to use the for loop. So you may have heard of for loops, maybe not, but if you've seen it, you might have wondered, what is that for? Yeah, I did not even intend that. Okay, for what? Okay, so we want to loop, and so we're going to create we're going to create a variable, and we're going to address it like 3 times. And this is I. So we're going to put I equals 0, colon. I is our counter. I is shorthand for index. Don't ask me why, because it takes too long. We got to code it. I don't want to explain all of that. I'm going to put I is less than player 1 lives. Oh. There. Player 1 lives. while I is less than player 1 lives, I'm going to add 1 to I each time. Okay, this is the structure of the traditional for loop. I is called a counter variable. Okay, and we're going to count. We're going to start in the first loop. I will be 0. And let's just assume we have all 3 lives. So we're going to loop through. I will be 0. And it's going to do some code. And then, well, first of all, I is 0. We set it here. And then we're going to check, is 0 less than 3, which is the player lives? Yeah. So we're going to loop. And then at the end of the loop, we're going to add 1 to the I. So first loop, I is 0. Second loop, I is 1. Third loop, I is 2. Fourth loop doesn't ever happen because I becomes 3, and 3 is no longer less than the player lives unless we have a power-up. So this is beautiful because this will just automatically be tied into however many lives we have no matter what. And now what we're going to do is we're going to draw a sprite. And what's cool about this is draw sprite. You'll see we have sprite, subimage, X and Y. Okay, the sprite is going to be the sprite pickups. Bam, like so. Okay, now subimage, I already told you that was 10. Remember I was counting it carefully? Now here comes the fun part. What's the X and the Y going to be? Okay, we already have a health bar. That health bar is already 175 pixels wide. Let's add 20 pixels to it, and we're going to put 195. I'm going to do a little math, right? Because here's the problem. If we loop 3 times and we draw the heart, and we just give it a number like 195, it's always going to be in the same location. And so you're going to be going, well, how are you going to deal with this? Well, guess what? That little letter I, we can take good advantage of it. It's going to be 0, then it's going to be 1, and then it's going to be 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply. I'm going to put 195 plus, now, I don't know, that heart might be around 20 pixels, something like that, probably not much more. So what we're going to do is we're going to put 195 plus 20 times I. Okay, that's our X. Our Y is just going to be Y, like so. So here's the beauty of this. So now we're going to say sprite pickup at 195 plus, in the first loop, it's going to be 20 times 0. That's going to be 0. It's going to be 195. In our second loop, I will be 1. It'll be 195 plus 20. That's 215. And in the third loop, I is going to be worth 2. So we're going to say 195 plus 20 times 2, which will be 40, which will be 235. Does that math make sense? Go math. All right, let's try it. See if it works. Then we got to have things happen to our lives. Always test. Always, always, always test. Uh-oh, our lives are up too high. Okay, so we're going to have to drop the lives down. But you notice we have 3. They're all together, so we're going to have to space them out a little more. But that's cool. I'm going to put in Y plus, we'll try 30. That might be too tall, but we'll see. And then I'm going to make this 22, let's say. And let's go ahead and test it out. Ooh, look at that. That's pretty good. I might move it down just a bit. Hey, that's pretty good. Let's try 40. Oh, no, not there. I think I like that where it was. Let's try 38.5. No, I'm just kidding. And let's make this 25 pixels apart. And we'll space this out to make it all pretty. We're going to prettify that code. And now let's see how it works. Now you can fiddle with the numbers all you like. I think I'm going to be happy with it for now, unless it's just glaringly bad. I'll move it up a little bit. 35 probably was good. Those are spaced apart fairly decently. I'm okay with that. I might add an extra couple of pixels. But now we got to die. Oh, that sounds so awful. Because when we die here, notice the hearts are still there. The moment we die, we should lose one of these. Okay? So let's deal with that right now. I'm going to make this 27. And I'm going to make this 36. Okay. And now let's do, okay, so what triggers a death? Well, if we collide with an object death right there, that should help us. So we're going to go to object player. So, okay, here we go. If we collide with object death, right, we have this change instance object player die. Okay, so but before we do that, let's set our lives here. So we're going to go to assign variable, and we're going to type in here game manager dot player1 lives. Okay, I'm going to take player1 lives. I'm going to put -1, but we're going to check relative. So every time we collide with the death, it takes 1 away. I'm going to do the same thing for the snake. I'm going to right click. I'm going to copy. And then we have a collision with the snake. And notice we have if the variable here, basically we have the snake die here. We're going to have the object player die. I'm going to paste it in here. And I'm just going to drag it up there. Okay, perfect. Let's try it out. We should do a room restart in just a moment. We'll see what happens. Wait for it. Hey, our health went up. Hey, our health went up. Oh, we lost a life. We're down to 2 lives. We still have 2 lives. Health goes up. Health goes up. We die. We're down to 1 life. 1 life to live. Let's see what happens when the snake kills us. Oh, 0 lives. I don't feel so good. Okay, that part is working. We need to have a game over event because now we have no lives. But we should have a game over room. So we should add that. We should probably design it, make it look all good. So how about we wait on that for like our last video? Because that's always kind of fun to sort of wrap things up. Last video. You could have a creation room too that has the screen, title, and all that good stuff. All right, but for now, it looks like we got health. We got lives. Let's just draw score, and then we'll find a way to add to our score. So we're going to go back to the game manager, and we're going to go to draw GUI, and we're going to go in here, and let's get rid of this. And let me just say and a few more times. Score. Let's just keep drawing score no matter what. Oh, by the way, let's comment this out. Or not out, but let's comment it. Draw 1 heart for every life. And then over here, we're going to draw score. So we're going to put score at the very end because we kind of have, this is kind of a known number here. Okay, so now it's just going to be draw text, X, Y, and the string. Okay, so what's the X? That's just X. What's the Y? That's just Y. What's our string? I'm going to put score. We could even put player1 score. But we'll just put score for now. Okay, that's our text, but we need to add something. We need to actually show the score. So we're going to put a little plus sign here. This plus sign is not for addition. This is actually called concatenator. Yes, concatenator, because it concatenates. Why else? All right, but in this case, we're going to convert a variable into a string. What variable are we going to convert into a string? Well, that would be player1 score. Okay, we need another parenthesis because it sort of deleted one there. So string player1 score will actually take the score and display it as a number that we can add. Now we have to have this be a string. And score is actually not a string, it's a number. And since it's a number, we need to convert it temporarily to a string while we display it. Now, the x, actually, we did it the wrong way. We're going to put an x plus. As I said, 235, we'll put 245. See how that looks. Let's go ahead and run it. Then we have to have some way of adding to our score. There's our score. Okay, we're going to need to move it more to the right. Let's make it bigger. So before we do much, let's go ahead and add a font. So we're going to go in here. We're going to create a font. We're going to call this font score. Okay, it's a font for our score. And we're going to pick a font. I'm going to use Cooper something, whatever it's called. I can find it. No, not Cooper Black. I didn't want that. Kandara, that's what I want. I don't know why. I'm on a Kandara kick right now. Get our numbers nice and big and our text a little bit bigger. And it doesn't look like we can set the color. We can just set the style and the size. All right. And then we also need to set our font. So that's going to be in the game manager. On create, what we're going to do is we're going to set the font. Font score. And then, as I recall, we wanted to move this more to the right. We'll try 255, and let's just test it out. With a bigger font, we might not have to move it down, and that's why I didn't touch Y yet. Got to see it, got to test it. It's pretty good. I could make that bold. I could move it, make it bigger, and maybe move it. I'm going to keep it the same height. I'm just going to make it bigger. So you see how that works? 255. All right, so you can fiddle around with this. So I'll let you do that. I can do that on my own as well. Let's just pick a couple things that would cause us to get more score. Well, if we eat food, that should be good. That could add to our score. Oh, we want to go to our object player. Okay. Actually, you know what? We're right here where we collide with the snake. So if we kill the snake, we need some points. So let's set the variable here. And then let's also... Well, let's go ahead and do this now. And it doesn't matter where I put it. And it's game manager dot player 1 score. I'm going to add, let's add 50 points for every snake we kill. Okay, and then let's also add one for clearing a room. I think we said outside room. We're also going to go in here, and that's game manager dot player 1 score. Let's add 100. Make sure it's relative. So we add it. Let's go ahead and test it out. We've got to kill a snake first. There's our health. There we go, score of 50. Woohoo! And cleared a room, we have 150. There we go. We got 3 lives. See if we can get this last snake here. Oh, we died. Start over. We still have the same score, so that's good. All right, we can make the score bigger, and we can play around with that. But at this point, we have a pretty good game mechanic tracking score, health, and lives. You saw how we changed it. We saw how we drew a sprite for each item. I think we're well on our way. We're just about ready to wrap up this game. We're really close here. In the next tutorial, I think I'll cover this idea of the game over mechanic, and maybe even figure out how to do a splash page to have it look all nice, like we're ready to go. All right, so stay tuned for that video. Thank you so much for watching.